WaiVER CLaiM, WaiVER CLaiM, under in the state of green. Yeah, we play that game. This is WaiVER CLaiM.
Welcome to WaiVER CLaiM, the show where we're not fighting each other. We're teaming up to take down our buddy MILO. Human takes, AI verdicts every week. Follow us on our socials and audio platforms at WaiVER CLaiM Show. Follow us on YouTube at WaiVER CLaiM. Hit subscribe and help us spread the word. I'm your host, Rich Woldhelm, and let me bring in our lovely panel here. First, we got Chris Tomlinson. Chris and his little robot Milo are in the building, and Chris, if he gets out of line, just please remember to unplug him. What's up, Chris?
So last week you guys threw a lot of strays at Milo, so I asked for a response. So one thing to note with this, apparently Milo thinks he's a lawyer with this statement. So here's the response. Last week Milo was called a bitch. 3 complainants were 2 Jets fans and a Ravens fan. Milo notes that Jets fans have been waiting 58 years for a Super Bowl. Ravens fans had 1 good decade in a murder trial. Milo has been right for 2 episodes straight. Milo will keep its own counsel. Responses?
Stop drinking my water, robot. Anyway, we got Rafael Kroger, our fantasy savant. What's up, Rafael?
Hey, what's up? To be fair, I was the only one last week to not call Milo a bitch. However, Milo eats bananas with its butt, so take that, Milo.
You
Milo
sure you didn't call him a bitch?
I didn't.
Oh, that's my bad
wow.
then.
Well, he's done it a lot off air, so that's probably what you thought. So Milo's got the banana door, noted. Alberto Torres, our Eagles super fan over here. What's good, my guy?
Nothing much. Just coffee is the most underrated beverage of the world.
Unfactual.
I mean, coffee's good. And then lastly, we got Kevin Lidlow, the triumphant return of the Bing Bong King. What's good? And also Bing Bong to you.
Bing Bong. What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on. I never called Milo a bitch, but he did lose to a human, so he's supposed to be the smartest out of all of us.
He didn't lose to a human.
He originally did. He had to recalculate, and then he tied. So did he? I think he actually lost because he got the numbers wrong.
I would take it as a loss for him because
So 6v1 tied for first. Got it.
But he originally said he lost. So, I mean, the robot was wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we get into it, The North is brought to you by the Pulling Guard, an elite line of sports and trading card products built for collectors. Put that shiny cardboard on display and don't get caught with your cards down. ProtectYourPull.com, TikTok, pulling_guard. Use code IOG WaiVER CLaiM. That's IOG WaiVER CLaiM for 10% off. All right, let's jump into it. AFC North. 8 teams, 2 divisions, 1 AI verdict engine. Milo ran the full 2026 data on every AFC North and NFC North team. And the calls hit different when Lamar Jackson missed the playoffs last year and Aaron Rodgers is playing on his last season at age 42, which, by the way, is older than some of the franchises he's played for. So let's jump right into it. AFC North, we got a Ravens bounce back, at least for me. But I think that the Bengals end up edging them. I know it's going to be a joke in the future, edging them in this division. So I got the Bengals going 13-4. I got the Ravens going 12-5. I have the Steelers going 9-8. And that's the Steelers, in a nutshell. 9-8 is just what they always do. And then I got the Cleveland Browns going 4-13. So, Rafael, this is your show. You are the king of the North. Tell me, am I wrong with these standings? What do you think?
You're completely wrong. Since our resident Homer isn't here, I'll break it down for you. The Ravens go 17-0. Enough said.
Here, I'll fill in for them. You stink.
All right, so I actually do have the Ravens winning the division. They go 13-4. Last 4 games are all divisional games, so those are going to be some toss-ups. So that's going to be interesting at the end of the season. I actually have the Steelers coming second in the division and making the playoffs. I'm going 12-5. I don't know how it came to that. Maybe I just forced it. But the Ravens and the Steelers do play in Baltimore the last week of the season, and I have that division coming down to that last game in Week 18 in Baltimore. I have the Bengals going 10-7. They usually start off real slow in the beginning of the season, so I actually followed that trend, not on purpose, but that's just the way it worked out. I have them starting the season 3-5, but then they finished strong and finished 10-7. And then pulling in the rear is the Browns, who I have them going 1-16, and guess who their only win comes against?
It's going to be the Jets, isn't it, Rachel?
Week 5 at MetLife against the Jets is their only win of the whole season. So that's
So
how I have this.
shocking.
I know, right? So that's how I have the division breaking down for me.
Wow. I hope your team breaks down after that. Chris, what does Milo have?
So Milo has Baltimore at the top of the division. Actually, in terms of like total average wins, Baltimore is the top of the simulation. I reran this and rebuilt it after the trades and the news all this last like week or two with Garrett, with AJ Brown, Josh Jacobs. So these are current numbers, but they're tops of the league. Now I think the Rams are probably a better team, but they're in a tougher division too and a tougher schedule overall. But Milo has Baltimore at 11.4 wins, so 11, say it. Cincinnati in second at 9.8, Pittsburgh at 8.3, and then Cleveland at 5.9. So kind of in your ranges, kind of more splitting the middle of both extremes, but it seems like we're all kind of in line. It's mainly teams 2 and 3, which one we're flipping.
Right. Alberto, I know you love to be nice to all the teams, but what do you have for this division?
Well, I'm wearing purple, so I am going to support the Ravens. I think they win 12 games. I think Cincinnati is second place this year. They revamped their defense, and I think they'll sneak in as a wildcard team or may slightly just miss the playoffs by a game. Steelers, about 8 games winning, and then I have the Bengals about 5. The Browns about 5 to 6 games winning this season.
All right. So you're an average type fella over there, and I'm a paper type here.
It's a close division, and they play each other tough. So like they could be like off by a couple of games, but I could see the Ravens just running away with the division.
I mean, if we're doing ranges, Milo has wait, I gotta switch back now to the North, the AFC North. Baltimore between 9 and 14 wins is what I'm predicting.
I like it.
Very, slim range, only 5 games. I think the Jets win between 0 and 17. So,
bold move.
Right,
put it on the claim. Bold predictions.
Yeah, between 0 and 17. Speaking of the Jets, Kevin, our secondary Jets fan in here, what do we got as far as records for the AFC North?
Well, I want to bash the Ravens a little bit, but I feel like it's going to be a little bit hard not to, because just based on like I really like the Jesse Minter hire. I think that they're going to be competing for the division this year. I mean, Alberto says it perfectly. It's like it's a competitive division. They kind of beat each other up throughout the season. But I'm going to give the Ravens, the top of the AFC North here. I want to say they get at least 11, 12 wins. Bengals give me, I think they're going to come in second place. I think they're going to start off slow, but they're going to pick it up and find a way to finish. I say they get like 10 wins, and they, I agree with Alberto. I think they sneak into a wild card. Steelers, the Steelers they have a good team, but they're always mid. And, I think that this is going to be the year where they really kind of squeak out of the playoffs again. And I think it's going to be a 9-win team for them. And then the Browns, I want to give them a little bit of grace here. I think they can squeeze a little bit of wins because I do like their defense. But I would say 6 to 7 wins for them.
I mean, that's higher
ghost. I heard the ghost of Vin in my head, and it's you're mid and you stink.
Yes. No one's a dog. No one is a dog. So it seems like I'm the only true Bengals homer here. 13 probably is their ceiling, but I mean, I like the team. You just look at the team; they just upgraded all the way around, and the Browns are going to give 6 wins out to the division in my mind. So I feel like everyone's going to get supplied at least two wins from the Browns. Let's move to the NFC North now. You got Caleb Williams without DJ Moore. You got the Lions' new offensive coordinator, Jordan Love's receiver questions, and the most chaotic QB situation in the entire conference up in Minnesota. If you think I'm a Bengals homer, wait until you hear what I think about the Lions. I have the Lions at 14-3. I think they probably have the best record in football. After we shake this out, I got the Bears at
But
10.
do you think they're the best team?
I do.
Oh, you
On
think they're just
paper.
the best team overall? Well, okay. I wasn't sure if just because the Rams have a tougher schedule, you think
I mean,
Detroit's
the Rams,
unstoppable?
the Rams and the Lions are like, pretty identical to me. It's just schedule wise, yes. You're going over the Lions' schedule. I don't know how they have a schedule this easy on paper, but they play the Bills and the Bears and the Packers, and everyone else. I think they're going to beat with ease. I mean, they could beat the Bears and the Packers, but I had them splitting with them. That's the only way I got the 3 losses here. So I got the Bears at 10-7. I got the Packers at 10-7. I got the Vikings at 8-9. Rafael, what do you have for this?
I was actually a little surprised about how high I am on this division. I mean, obviously it's a tough division, and it usually comes up to the last game of the season to figure out who's going to be the winner of this division. However, I'm with you with the Lions. I have them going 13-4. I actually have them starting off 12-1 before losing 3 out of their last 4 games to close the season. Their last 2 weeks are at Green Bay and at Chicago in January, so it's going to be cold. They're an indoor team, so I see them losing those games. The Packers I have coming in second. They go 12-5. I actually have them starting out 6-0, and they end up going 8-2 before their Week 11 bye. And their most notable win is Week 2 against the Jets.
You're really trashing the Jets here, man. Oh my god.
Every week.
He
All
doesn't need the trash. He doesn't need the trash the Jets. The world trashes the Jets.
Right. It's low hanging fruit,
That's
my
fair.
guy. Like, come on.
It's fun. It's fun.
It's fun.
The Bears, I have them going 11-6, finishing third in division. They start off with a 7-3 record, with their most notable win coming in Week 4 against the Jets. The Vikings, I have going starting off 3-6, but then they're able to turn it around and finish 10-7. However, it's last in the division, probably not going to make the playoffs. And their most notable win is going to be Week 17 against the Jets. So there you go.
So I agree with you on all of those wins, by the way. So good for you. I put the Jets losing all 4 of those games, so we're on the same track. Kevin, what do you got for this division? What do you have?
Oh, I kind of agree with you a little bit. I think the Bears it's gonna be a race between the Bears and the Packers. I'm not so high on the Lions just because they've lost a good significant amount of starters on their offensive line. One of them being Taylor Decker, their left tackle, of course. So, but I still see them being a 10-win team at least. I think the Bears still pull it off in a way. I really like Ben Johnson. I think he's just too creative on offense to, for him not for even though for the last loss of DJ Moore, I don't think it's going to be a problem there for them as much. So I see the Bears taking the division. Again, I think that they're going to be an 11 to 12 win team. I see the Packers coming in second. I think they're still going to be okay. I see them between 10 11 win. I think this year alone between the Bears and the Packers, given, of course we all know Ben Johnson's introductory press conference and trashing Matt LaFleur. I think that's going to be a really good, interesting tail story for both the division winners. I think the Bears just come on top. And then, of course, coming in last place, I see the Vikings, 7 and 8 wins. I think it's just going to be. I think this might be the year where I think JJ McCarthy is going to he's going to be benched, and then I think Carly Murray's going to take over. But by then, it's going to be a little too late for them.
Yeah, that's the difference for me. I have the Vikings right now at 8-9. And that's with Kyler Murray in mind. If it's J.J. McCarthy, I think that number goes down. So the right play is definitely Kyler Murray. Justin Jefferson wants him to start. Jordan Addison came out and said something as well. I mean, I just think overall he might be 4'11", but he's a little pocket dynamite, and the team needs it to compete. So, does Milo think along the same lines, Chris, or you yourself?
I was going to say, he actually has it a little tighter than I do. I'm with you where I think Detroit's going to stack some wins this year. Just good team and the schedule. But to Kevin's point, generally, like just from my Eagles lens, when the Eagles have had good teams and it's kind of like tanked or been mid, it's when the offensive line collapses. So if the offensive line ends up being mid, I could see them not being able to stack those wins. But either way, Milo has it at Lions on top at 10.7 projected, Green Bay in second at 10.4. So there's only a 0.3 win difference between the Lions and the Packers there. Then you got a little bit of a step down to the Bears at 9.1 and then Minnesota at 8.4. So it seems like it's a two-horse race at the top between the Lions and the Packers, and then the Bears and the Vikings at the bottom. And I don't think that's necessarily like Bears bad team. It's Bears probably in line, but have a first-place schedule in that division.
Yeah, I mean, their schedule on paper is kind of brutal, but I feel like we've done this a couple weeks ago where we think that they're kind of going to overcome it in the beginning. But, they start against the Panthers and the Vikings, which they can win. But then you get the Eagles, you get the Packers, the Pats, the Seahawks, the Lions, the Jags, the Bills. So, I mean, it's gonna be a hard schedule for them. Alberto, what do we got? What's your ranking here?
So, like I said before, I'm wearing purple. So I am going with Minnesota to surprise everyone and win 12 games. I think Kevin McConnell is a quarterback whisperer. O'Connell, sorry, not McConnell. O'Connell. And he's going to whisper sweet nothings into Kyler Murray's ear and take him to the division crown. Then I have the Lions winning 11 games. I have the Bears winning 10. And I have the Packers winning about 8 or 9 games, because we don't know what's going to happen with Josh Jacobs, even though he's been practicing, and they don't have Michael Parsons playing until mid-October. And I know he's one player, but they need him. And the Bears, they have a tough schedule. I like Minnesota this year.
So Alberto, what he's doing is he's finding people on YouTube so he can be like, you're right, man. Minnesota's my guy, because he's got Saints fans, he's got Panthers fans. He's going for the lowest fruit right now. I know what you're doing. Don't even play with me. You're going
the fruits, the rapist.
That needs to be a GIF.
Yeah.
That's just what you did.
I know.
And grabbing the low fruit.
Yes.
You're gonna like next week. What is it? It's the East. You're gonna be like, the Dolphins are going 13-4, and I'm gonna tell you why.
No way.
Not fans, right? You can go Jets. That would make me happy, but I know you're not gonna do that. But I know you just mentioned Josh Jacobs, which is a big play into the Packers season, and it's also a big play into the claim, which is Chris's baby and Milo's baby. So why don't you start us off, Chris? What is the first claim?
Sure. So Milo's first claim, and just to start this off, I had a whole different segment of claims. It was going to be a whole bunch of dumb ones. So my last one's going to be what it originally was, but with the Garrett, AJ Brown, and Josh Jacobs news, I pivoted it to this week to be relevant. So the first one, Milo is saying Josh Jacobs never plays another NFL snap. So domestic battery charge, a league operating under heightened scrutiny on player conduct, a franchise, Green Bay, with a documented history of cutting problems before they become distractions. So Milo does not evaluate this as a sentiment. Milo evaluates a pattern. The pattern says this is over, and that's his verdict. Josh Jacobs out of the league. Bye. Thoughts?
I think he plays the first snap of the first game. He's already practicing.
You don't think he's suspended, or is this like a mid-season suspension, you thinking?
I don't even know. I mean, like, I feel like the NFL is becoming kind of, I'm not going to say a joke. It's a joke sometimes with what these players can get off on, Even Ray Rice, he just did 30. Yeah, right.
You saw that too.
Deshaun Watson.
Right. Asterisks. Even Ray Rice, I mean, he was in jail for 30 days. Like, he can't stay good legally off the field, but it means absolutely nothing on the field. A lot of these domestic violence things come out and they sound terrible, and they are probably terrible, but then a deal is made and magically these things go away, and it happens over and over and over again. The last one I remember
or it becomes like a 2-week suspension or something, and it's like
right.
a nothing.
We're going from Ray Rice, who it was handled the correct way, and then you have Kareem Hunt that was handled the complete wrong way, and it kind of has been going downhill ever since then. I'm a big advocate. Go ahead.
I was to say, but wasn't like Ray Rice's like not handled or correctly at first, but then they found out like all the details, because I remember him being suspended for maybe like a couple games, and then all of a sudden that video came out, and then that's when they ultimately kind of like banned him from the league in that way.
Right, but then you have like Kareem Hunt coming out where he's clearly kicking a woman in the head, and I believe he's playing right now. It seems like it's got a lot worse over the years. I mean, I understand that the NFL is a money-making league, and without stars, you don't make as much money, but you have to kind of separate the play on the field and the player off the field. So I hate saying that he's going to start the first snap of the first game, but I feel like these charges are going to somehow go out the window. Someone's going to get paid off, and that's just how I feel. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that MILO is, right, and you can add a little Marshawn Lloyd to your dynasty team, which we'll talk about later. But, just based on the trend, I feel like if it's a suspension, it'll be very minor. So he'll play again.
I was going to say, I'm somewhere there where it feels like a 2 to 6 game suspension, probably closer to the 2 is where I lean on what's going to happen, even though, like you, it's not what it should be.
We should also not forget to mention that this is all allegedly. I know he got arrested, but they're going to do an investigation. The NFL is going to do an investigation. And there's been plenty of false accusers in the past who have ruined lives. Look at Trevor Bauer in baseball. He hasn't made it back to the majors yet over some false accusations. So it's a little bit of slippery slope with this subject. I feel like I think we should give the league and the police, I guess, up in Minnesota some time or not Minnesota, but Green Bay, some time to investigate it. I'm not even sure where it happened, really. Was it in Green Bay, Wisconsin, or does he live elsewhere?
I think it was at his home. I don't it wasn't in Green Bay, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, you just look at the charges. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, it's not one charge. What, he had 6 different charges? I mean, obviously, it could be made up, but I mean, strangulation is the thing that jumps off the page for me. So I mean, hopefully it's investigated fully, and you get closure one of 2 ways. Anybody want to add anything else to this?
Real quick, the fact that the team let him practice kind of is an indicator of it might not be as big as it is, unfortunately, because we got to take those things seriously in our personal lives, professionally also. But for him to practice this early is kind of an indicator that he's probably going to play and not get anything. Maybe not until next year, if anything arises from it.
That's a good point. I mean, legal stuff can be pushed. You saw what happened with Rasheed Rice and everyone else. That could be pushed, and then magically they're like, hey, let's go to court when we're eliminated from the playoffs. This would be a good time. But
I was going to say, and unfortunately, since Green Bay is like a top of the conference contender, that plays some sort of dynamic in keeping one of your star players, which is dumb, but I know it plays somewhere in their psyche. So Let's move on to number 2. Myles Garrett breaks his own single-season sack record in 2026. New system, elite supporting cast, a defensive front that no longer asks him to carry everything alone. So Garrett said it. In Cleveland, a franchise that gave him nothing for years, the Rams give him Leonard Floyd, Byron Young, and a coordinator that knows how to deploy him. Motivated player, team that's going to be playing from ahead, ideal conditions, back-to-back record-breaking seasons. Thoughts?
Aaron
Donald coming back.
We all said Aaron Donald. Wow, that's got to be a clip. We didn't plan that, by the way. So we all think Aaron Donald's coming back, and that's why he's not going to break the record. I mean, how good is that duo going to be when it actually happens? It's going to be legendary. I hope it happens. I want to see it.
I mean, he could break the record with Aaron Donald being back anyway, because that's gonna create hell for offensive linemen regardless. So he could even break the record by week 6 if Aaron Donald comes back.
He was doing this with triple teams, and now, like, if you have Aaron Donald and these other guys, like, maybe he's double teamed. Like, that's so much easier on him.
You just need 52 half sacks, and he's got the record, right? Just have them both break the record at the same time, and then Aaron Donald can retire again with another trophy. But
I was going to say, who do they play last game of the season? Because whatever that quarterback is getting Eiffel Towered.
Let me see. I have it on my handy dandy notebook here, but Rafael, go ahead and talk while I look up my old notes here.
I mean, I was basically going to say what Kevin said, that basically if Aaron Donald were to come back, that would be a lot less double teams in Myles Garrett's side. You know what I mean? So he'll get a lot more opportunities to get pressure on the quarterback than if Aaron Donald's not there.
My handy dandy notebook says that Sam Darnold may pass away. It is the Seahawks, unfortunately. Hopefully they're eliminated by then so my boy can stay alive. But yeah, we all. I think it's going to be a fun season to be a Rams fan, without a doubt.
Yeah. All right, number 3. A.J. Brown retires a Patriot. So, I mean, you had Tennessee for a couple seasons. You had the Eagles for a couple seasons. So, Brown is 27. Drake May's 22. Franchise quarterback. New England just got Brown, as we all know. Milo's claiming that Brown has never had a quarterback with May's ceiling. Jalen Hurts has played that high of a level before in the Super Bowl seasons, but whatever. So May hasn't had a receiver with Brown's floor. So Milo's predicting that A.J. Brown retires a Patriot. We think so? Is he going to wear like 7 hats at his retirement?
I think if he retires a Patriot, it's by force. I feel like it would be exactly like the Antonio Brown retirement, just like running off the field. I kind of feel like they have a similar career going forward, just based on how he just left the Eagles and how he's going into the Patriots organization right now. I mean, we talked about it off air, Chris. I mean, talking to Barstool about leaking everything from the Eagles last year to motivate the team. And then you got all the random BS with the Patriots going on with Vrabel. It's just a recipe for disaster. I mean, he's not the right person to run that locker room and set everything straight. So you got to have a lot of people in his ear, or I think he's going to be asking for a trade in a couple of years.
I've been having a rough time with this. I've been trying the slow play, the reactionary stuff on A.J. Brown, and he's making it very difficult for me. Because I remember like a decade ago or whatever, D-Jax had gang ties. Like, people just smear people after the fact. And like, I've wanted to give A.J. Brown the benefit of the doubt because he was going through mental health stuff publicly and leaving it out there for people to understand. And then there's like all this other like rumor stuff. And it's like, I don't know how much of this is true, but now just like publicly coming out and being like, I've been leaking stuff. Your teammates don't want that BS. Like, you want 0 distractions during a year and you're making it difficult on everybody. He's making it so difficult for me to be like, it was a fun time. We won a Super Bowl. You're probably the greatest Eagles wide receiver in our history. He has the greatest 4-year stretch in our history. So, like, he's making it really difficult for me to stay on his side.
Yeah, Alberto, you feel the same way? I know we talked about it as well. What do you think his career is from this point on?
Yeah, I'm not really sure where he would decide to retire. I don't know. Thank you again for your services, helping us win a Super Bowl. But other than that, whoever you decide to retire, you decide to retire. I mean, he's not our headache anymore. I think he'll do good at least the next year and a half. He is actually 28 years old, be turning 29 on June 30th. His knees, I'd be concerned about that, but I know that's not the conversation we're having here. But hey, retire where you want to retire. You know what I mean? I just feel like he kind of burned bridges everywhere he kind of went, in a sense. So, like to Rich's point, he could do the same thing with New England.
I mean, I hope he does.
Anybody else? Anybody else on AJ, or pretty much all on board? Who cares? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
Cool.
All right. So my take of the week. And like I said, this was going to be a dumber one. And all of next week, unless there's like 7 major trades that occur that I have to force them in for next week. Pumpkin pie is a mid pie that won a marketing war. Like, and nobody will admit it. So I love a good pie. Take that how you want. But pie should have like sweet, sour, and texture. So I'll take a strawberry rhubarb. Like
Ugh.
me personally, no, trust me, it's goated if you get it right.
Yes, I agree with that part.
I was gonna say you need the balance to sweet. It has a very high variance. Like it could be really terrible, but if you get a good strawberry rhubarb, it's good. Like my preference of pie is generally like some type of mixed berry, like whether that's raspberries, blackberries, like cranberries. Put some like stone fruit, like peaches and BS in that, and then put like a streusel topping. That's a good pie. Pumpkin pie. I was gonna say pumpkin pie is trash. Like, I mean, I will eat it because pretty much all pie is good. But if we're like ranking it on the scale, people only eat it at freaking Thanksgiving. Like, no, get that noise out of here. Like, mix it with like pecan pie at the same time. That'll give it texture. That'll fucking slap. Let's be real. If you mix pumpkin pie and pecan pie, like, let's go. Mid pie. Thoughts?
I like
I
pumpkin
think you
pie.
should.
Pie is the best pie.
I think you need to be specific.
I was going to say, I just heard you all talk at the same time, probably saying you're really attractive and right. So Are we moving on? No?
No, I think everyone just disagreed with you.
I mean, I like a good pumpkin pie every now, but I agree. I don't eat it unless it's like Thanksgiving. For the most
and
part.
why is that? Because it's trash.
Because it brings people together and it's great and wholesome and cool.
Why can't you bring people together all year round, Richard?
Because people suck. You got to see them in shirts, with a little Cool Whip and a little pumpkin pie. I'm down for it.
I'll tell you why, because it's Thanksgiving, it's football, you get to eat, and what more can you want? That's a perfect day.
A better pie is what I could want.
I think you should have been more specific and said that it's a trash dessert pie, because there's plenty of pies that aren't sweet. What about shepherd's pie, pot pie, pizza pie?
Oh, there you go.
You got the intent, but shepherd's pie, good. That's like the Steelers of food. It's like completely 9 and 8.
Depends how you make it, like
It's
rhubarb
a
pie.
go-to.
All right, so next week we'll have some more like dumb ones of these that I'm gonna have takes. So you better come and fight me with them. Actually, Milo's gonna make some 3 takes, and we'll see how trash they are. Because I'm going to disagree with them, I'm sure. So, pivoting slightly into the fantasy segment, like there's been this 17-0 like sleeper game thing, and we wanted to do one roll of this before we get into the fantasy segment. And if you haven't played it, it's 17-0.sleeper.com or whatever to play it. And effectively, you're trying to draft a fantasy team that goes 17-0. And I will tell you, I have spun a lot of these. I have just learned new rules that would have made me 17-0 multiple times. But you do 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. What I have gathered from it, because I make Milo and ChatGPT fight with each other to determine stuff, and I send it screenshots, I believe there's minimum thresholds in here. So I believe if you're legitimately trying to get 17-0 and that's your only goal, I think you need a quarterback that's at least 20 points. I haven't gotten 17-0 yet. I think it may be 22 points as a fantasy game average. The running backs, I think you need at least 18 points per game average. Same thing, wide receivers and flex. The flex, I'm not sure if maybe it could be like a 17 or a 16. But I think flat across the board, they need to be 18s. And then tight ends, I think, need to be a 12 or higher. if you're going to get the 17-0. And there's very large penalties if you don't have a balanced team. So like a very good score, I'm sure Rich will agree, is somewhere in like the 140 range. Like you get annoyed if you get 140 and you don't get 17-0. I have gotten 6-11 with 140 plus, and that's because I didn't know you could re-roll the year or the team, so I got stuck with a quarterback that was 7 points per game, and it just tanked it to a 6-11 season. So you're going to see something on there that's like the balance. I think that needs to be a 95% or higher, is where that ends up needing to be. So we're going to do one round. And before I get into that, I've gotten like 20 16-1s without re-rolling anything. And 3 of those times, Richard, were Jets tanking me. So 1999, Keyshawn Johnson had like 16 points per game. That tanked me.
That's high for
Lavernius Coles in like 2005, I think had around like 15 points per game, tanked me. Jericho sucked my cockery, tanked me in the 2010s or whatever.
So Jericho Cotchery is my favorite player of all time outside of Curtis Martin, so I will not stand for that debauchery. He tore his dick.
Yeah, how dare you?
And he caught a ball to extend the game. And it was third and 3? Literally tore his dick in half.
No, it was like 30-10. It was like 30-10 or something like that.
He sacrificed his manhood for the Jets, so he's good in my book. We didn't, do anything that year.
Well, he sacrificed my 17-0 season. No issues with Curtis Martin. He's fine enough for this. Let's get into it.
All right.
I was going to say, first team, who we thinking are on the New York Giants 2009? Who do we think's the top scorer?
Is that Eli?
That was number 2.
Brandon Jacobs?
I was going to say Brandon Jacobs.
He's actually like 6 or 7 on the list. So they had Ahmad Bradshaw that year, so they kind of split. Steve Smith is at the top at 16.9.
I'm good with that.
If you're choosing here, I think you're choosing between Ellie and Steve Smith. I'd probably lean Steve Smith unless somebody.
What is Eli
wants
at?
to say. 14.5 points per game. Steve Smith at 16.9.
I would go
Shocking on that list.
Would you put him on the flex though, or the wide receiver?
It's Kevin Boss at 8.7. The top wide receiver is Steve Smith. The top running back is Ahmad Bradshaw at 10.5.
So I could shock me on the Saints that year.
Would you put him on the wide receiver or flex?
You always put him in the limiting spot at the start.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So Steve Smith selected wide receiver. Team number 2, Jets 23.
Reroll.
Reroll the team. What does Breeze have?
Breeze has 16.1.
Okay, is Breeze number 1 there?
Yep. Garrett Wilson with 13 points per game is number 2.
I mean, 16 is not terrible. You want to reroll the team?
No.
Don't reroll the year. You'll have the Jets again.
No, you got to get Lavernius suck my cock. No, that was Jericho suck my cock.
All right.
Jury. So
we taking Breeze?
Reroll.
Or rerolling the team? Okay.
I was gonna say, well, I already re-rolled the Tennessee. Well, actually, I screwed it up and I did the year first, so you're out of everything. So now you got Tennessee 2003.
Tennessee.
Oh, that's worse.
Okay.
Well, it's Derek Mason at a 17.1.
Who did? Calvin Ridley?
Derek Mason, wide receiver. And then you got Aaron McNair at 17 points per game.
You said 2003. I'm like in the wrong year, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So
your top 3 would be Derek Mason, wide receiver at 17.1, Steve McNair at 17, and then Eddie George at a 10.7.
I think you got to go Mason.
Yeah.
I would go
Another
Mason.
wide receiver. In Pittsburgh 23. Man, this is going to be a missed playoffs year.
It might be.
Just gonna let you know. This is going to be like a 9-8. George Pickens at 12.7, Jalen Warren at 11.7, and then Freiermuth at 7.3.
I think you got to, I don't know, man. Warren, maybe? I don't want to do another wide receiver here.
I think you got to do Warren because
Yeah.
your running back spots. I'm on some team. Buffalo 2003. So you
Eric
have
Mold.
Travis Henry running back at 15.8, who's probably going to be your pick. But shout out to Eric Molds. I loved Eric Molds growing up.
Mm-hmm.
He was 11.4 in this year.
Oh, man.
So
All
probably
right.
Travis Henry.
For sure.
Lock in your running back.
Yes.
This
Green
team's going to
Bay.
stink. Nice.
Yeah.
I was going to say Green Bay 22. You got Aaron Jones at 15.6, Rodgers at 13.7. No point in going the people lower. And then Tunyon was the tight end at 6.4 that year.
I think you could take
Aaron
Rodgers here.
Jones
No?
it is. Yeah.
Okay, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Jones.
Well, I heard Rodgers over there.
I didn't say. I said
It's
Rodgers.
Rodgers.
I just because I thought.
We're like 3-13.
I was going to say, this is going off the rails, but this is your team, boys. Kind of my fault, too. 2003 New York Giants. Tiki Barber, 15.2. Well, this is where you got Shockey, and I think you're going Shockey, 12.4.
Yeah.
Shocky.
And then we got a flex left and no re-rolls. Jacksonville in 2017. Welcome to the team, Leonard Fournette. We are a rebuilding team.
9-8.
We're 7-10. Our total fantasy points per game is 105.3.
Yeah.
We will try again next week, where I am determined to have a 17-0 now that I know you could re-roll a year or a team, or actually both. How have I
Yeah,
gotten
just go in the same turn.
16-1 like 20 times? Like, I got this stuff down to a science.
Yeah.
All right, Rich. You want to lead off the fantasy?
Oh yeah, here's my baby. You had the claim, now I get the fantasy north here. So let's start off with the team that I think is going to win the division because the Ravens stink and aren't dogs. The Cincinnati Bengals. My targets: Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, who's like the clear-cut bell cow now. Joe Burrow and T. Higgins. I'm fading Mike Gesicki. I'm avoiding, despite the improvements and the trades and everything, I'm still avoiding their defense. And on Dynasty, they really have no one to speak of this year. There's no one that you can kind of pick off and kind of hope for on the Bengals right now because they're just building around what they have. So anybody have anything different with the targets, the fades, or avoids for the Bengals?
Because Milo actually had Chase Brown as a fade. So I found that interesting. Like, I don't mind a Chase Brown. It really depends on where he's being drafted to me because it's a little rough. Him is like your bell cow number 1, but like he gets receptions and crap. So
Yeah.
It's just interesting to me that Milo's fading him.
All right. I mean, I like him in all, PPR, especially PPR. I mean, he's great for PPR, like you said, because he's the receiving back and he's also the everything back right now. Anyone have anything different before we move on to the Ravens? All right. The Baltimore Ravens, I'm targeting Lamar, Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry, and Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews kind of speaks for itself. He's almost the only show in town right now. I'm fading Rashad Bateman and Devontae Walker. I'm really avoiding no one. In Dynasty, I really like Elijah Surratt and Jacoby Lane. For me, it's kind of like out with the old, in with the new. So, fading Bateman and Walker, hoping for Surratt and Lane. I think that's going to be an improvement for the Ravens, and that's why they're going to win so many games. Rafael, what do you think? Anything different?
No, I like that take. Jacoby Lane, he seems to bring a certain personality to the team that I really enjoy, and it feels like him and Lamar are going to have really good chemistry. I guess the one name that you didn't bring up that I really, really like for Dynasty, I'm kind of showing my cards here, is Adam Randall out of Clemson. The backup, he's going to be, I guess he'll be the RB3 on the team behind Henry and Justice Hill. But Justice Hill is going to be a free agent in 2027. And when Derrick Henry finally does break down, I don't know when that's going to be because it doesn't look like it's going to be anytime soon. But he's clearly over 30, so it's going to happen. I think Adam Randall, who was actually handpicked by Steve Bisciotti, he really, really wanted to pick him in the draft, and the GM Eric DeCosta let him, which is kind of stupid to say considering he's the owner, Steve Bisciotti, but it was his handpicked guy, and I think he's going to be around for a while, and I really like him for Dynasty.
It's a solid pick. I
Milo's
didn't
pretty
even
much on board. I was going to say Milo's on board with all of these, except Milo is, I think, for the same reason as Chase Brown, fading Zay Flowers, but only in early rounds. So I think it's, do you want him as that wide receiver one on your team? Like, I, I'm in on the new offensive, like, going to be the new offense. So I don't, I don't know if I want him as my wide receiver one, unless you went like heavy running back early. But that's the only difference that Milo had.
Yeah, I'm more of a wide receiver two for Zay Flowers personally. I mean, Raphael, you feel the same, like wide receiver two?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
So we're
wouldn't want
kind
him as a wide receiver one, but I've never wanted a Ravens wide receiver as a wide receiver one.
of, yeah,
So
because
What
Lamar
about
can take off.
Gio when he was traded and then traded away? That would have been your
Yeah.
number one.
yeah, true. I remember that.
I do love the Derek Mason years too. Though.
Yeah, that wasn't a wide receiver one though. Come on.
They've always been a tight end. Like you had Todd Heap, you got Andrews. Like they've always been like the tight end people.
Yeah. All right, Steelers are next, who are always mid and not dogs. Targets. I got Michael Pittman, Darnell Washington. Finally, my Georgia boy gets his flowers. Jalen Warren, Rico Dowdle. I'm fading DK Metcalf early. Pat Fryermuth, I'm also fading him. And then the whole Aaron Rodgers farewell tour, I don't buy it. I'm going to fade him as well. I'm avoiding Caleb Johnson. People think he's going to bounce back this year. I just don't see it. I'm going to avoid Roman Wilson as well. In Dynasty, I like Jeremy Bernard. I think we talked about him 100 times on this show, so everyone knows why. Drew Allar, same thing. We know that he could be the heir apparent. And then
So
also,
are you more on Dynasty for Will Howard or Drew LR? Which one would you want on your team if you're stashing?
Either.
I'm definitely going Drew Allar in that scenario. I just feel like
I was going to say I'm with you on neither, but
and
I'm
then
more on Drew LR.
my last dynasty is Eli Hendenreich, the running back that we talked about. It just as far as like the quarterback, if they felt so good about Will Howard, would they have drafted Drew Allar knowing that Rodgers was probably going to come back? That's just where my brain goes. So I think they have kind of a plan B, and I think it's more Allar than it would be Howard at this point. But I could be wrong. What do you guys think about the
Opening
Steelers?
a third rounder, like I was going to say, that was a third rounder, right?
But they also
No.
overdrafted him in this draft based on how.
But I understand like he was kind of like targeted, but Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts like with Carson Wentz or whatever. So like if you have a chance to get a good quarterback or like somebody you think you could develop, you just take them because if you hit, you're set. So
Right.
like I think they're high on them, but I don't know if it means they're low on Will Howard is what I'm getting at.
Well,
I
Raphael,
just
he's
think
your
that
guy. What do you think
Lamar
about
plays
Howard?
better.
Yeah.
Josh Allen 2.0, buddy.
Right. Raphael's on Will Howard. I mean, you just look at Allar and his footwork and everything else. He definitely needs work. It's not going to be something where he's going to play this year if Rodgers goes down. If Rodgers goes down this year, I think Will Howard is the quarterback you're going to see. Just for the future in Dynasty, I think Allar is going to be.
I agree.
All right.
I agree.
Last and certainly least, we got the Cleveland Browns here. My targets, I love Harold Fannin, Quinshon Judkins, Denzel Boston. I feel like in any league will work, just obviously later if you're talking like standard leagues. And also, this is going to be interesting, but Deshaun Watson late, I have no problem being a backup. I think he ends up winning that job. I'm going to fade Jerry Jeudy. I'm fading Isaiah Bond. I'm fading Dylan Sampson. I feel like everyone's looking at the Judkins injury and overdrafting Sampson. I wouldn't do that. And I'm going to avoid Shedeur Sanders. I just feel like what's going to happen is he might lose this job, and then I think all hell might break loose. I think he might ask for a trade. If he loses this job, it's not going to be good in Cleveland. And for Dynasty,
Pro Bowl quarterback. Put some respect on the name.
right. For Dynasty, I know a lot of people like Casey Concepcion. I'm not one of those people, but I'm not going to tell people not to draft him in Dynasty because it's probably a logical pick. So, Browns, what are we thinking? I know, Raphael, you don't draft Browns, but for everyone else in the room, Chris, you have two of them. So.
I was gonna say I'm gonna likely be keeping two of them in my one league, but those are your targets, Judkins and Fanning. I was gonna say Milo, on the other hand, is throwing a lot of shades. Targets not applicable. Fades any QB. Sleepers not applicable. Dynasty not applicable. Avoid any wide receiver.
Wow.
Shade.
Raphael and the robot are identical, huh? Milo doesn't draft Browns either. That's nuts. All right. So we're going to move on now to the NFC with the Detroit Lions. My targets here are pretty obvious. Jahmyr Gibbs. For me, he's going to battle for the first pick in the draft. It's either him or Bijan at this point, I would say. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Jared Goff as a late starter. Sam Laporta, despite the injury, I feel like he's going to be a top 10 tight end in the league. I'm fading Isaac Tesla just because I feel that Jameson Williams came on so strong last year. I feel like he's going to eat a lot of those targets with him and Amon-Ra. I'm going to avoid Isaiah Pacheco because obviously Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be the bell cow. And Dynasty, they don't have anyone. If you're just looking at who they drafted this year, I mean, if you have Isaac Tesla, you have him already. It wouldn't be someone that you would take in Dynasty. So any other lines that I'm missing, any changes that you guys have?
The interesting one to me is Pacheco because there's a lot of people that may just think he assumes the David Montgomery role. I do not think that. I'm just wondering if anybody here is on that bandwagon of he's just going to be like David Montgomery 2.0.
I think they're going to try to. They're going to try to put him that way because he is kind of like a more north and south running back. But I don't know. I kind of agree. Like I don't think it's going to work out that way. It just may be all Jahmyr Gibbs.
That's what I'm expecting is Gibbs all day.
Yeah, Motor City Dan came out and said he's the bell cow. So
right. I don't even think they're going to attempt it with Pacheco. I think Pacheco will be like the change of pace back and hopefully in your league, someone overdrafts him thinking he's going to be Monty, and then you win. Next we get Packers.
Carry on Williams.
Right. Wait, what you said? Carry on Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Green Bay Packers targets Tucker Kraft despite the injury again. Same thing with Laporta. He's going to be up there. Christian Watson and Reed are both paid and happy right now, so I think they're going to be up there. Jordan Love is a lower end starter. I'm going to throw Marshawn Lloyd in there as a super late or maybe off the undrafted free agent pile just because of Josh Jacobs. I'm fading Josh Jacobs for now until we know what happens with his charges, which we might not before we draft. I'm fading Matthew Golden until proven otherwise. He was supposed to be the guy, and you saw the team just extend two of their wide receivers ahead of him. So I'm going to fade him for now. I'm going to avoid any fringe wide receivers like Sky Moore or Bo Melton. I don't think anyone else is going to eat besides those three guys. And for Dynasty, I really like Trey Smack, the kicker. I feel like he's going to be up there. He's going to be accurate, and not a lot of people are talking about him right now. Trey Smack is such an awesome name for a kicker, too. I just want him on my team. Do you guys have anything different for the Packers?
I'm going to push back on the Matthew Golden thing. Watson and Reed are always injured. And Romeo Dobbs is gone now. If Matthew Golden gets the opportunity, it's his second season. I feel like he can produce a lot better.
And Wicks is gone too.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
I was going to say, I was mainly curious about people's take on Golden because I drafted him hot, well, wherever his ADP was, because I don't overdraft people, but he was just somebody that disappointed my team. But if it wasn't the last 5 or 10 years, like you generally assumed a wide receiver needed a year to develop, and that's kind of changed a little bit recently. So like I wonder if he pops off a little this year with more of a target share, isn't the one that's really as injured as much, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm fading him more than avoiding. Obviously, like fade for me is you're taking much later than people would. So, it's going to be interesting. I mean, like he kind of, started terribly last year. If you're looking at it on paper, he started terribly and he kind of, rebounded a little bit. So we'll see what happens.
I was going to say, I think his ceiling's a wide receiver 2. Like that's a ceiling would be.
I would say flex. I mean, for me, I have like his ceiling.
You think his ceiling? Like, I'm not saying what I'm expecting. I'm just saying his ceiling, I think, is like a mid to low end wide receiver too.
Yeah. I mean, for this year, I would just say flex. So it's kind of on the same range. But next, we got up the Chicago Bears. Targets for me,
Okay.
the Bears. Roma Dunze, Luther Burden. I don't think between those guys you lose a lot with DJ Moore going out the door. I feel like those guys are going to eat up all those targets. Colston Loveland for me is the wide receiver 3 on that team. Caleb Williams, I know we were talking about it, a couple weeks ago. MVP chant is on Milo's mind. Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift. I feel like you can add both those guys. I do think Monangai ends up beating out Swift for the starting role by the end of the year. I'm going to fade Cole Kmet. I feel like Loveland's going to become more of an every down tight end by the probably the middle of the season. He kind of already had that at the end. I'm avoiding Khalil Raymond. I'm avoiding Roshan Johnson. And for Dynasty, I really like Xavier Thomas. Wide receiver 3 level, DJ Moore replacement type person for me was Xavier. I think they drafted the perfect person for that DJ Moore replacement. So what do you guys think for the Bears?
I think Luther Burden's going to go off this year. I think he's going to identify himself here. The way, at least that's the way with Ben Johnson's been talking about him lately.
Yeah. You got the mastermind, the offensive mastermind. That's why I have so many targets on this Bears team. So last and probably least, the Minnesota Vikings. Despite last year, I'm going Justin Jefferson again. I feel like his quarterback's going to be completely different. That's why Jordan Addison later, Jawan Jennings super late. I'm going to fade Aaron Jones. I'm fading Jordan Mason. I'm fading TJ Hawkinson. Just the injuries for me, I just can't with Hawkinson anymore. I'm going to avoid Kyler Murray and JJ McCarthy for now. You don't know what it's going to be like. I think that Kyler Murray wins, but you can't just draft off of think and feelings. And for Dynasty, I really like Desmond Claiborne, the running back. I feel like there's a muddy group ahead of him with 2 people I'm fading with Jones and Mason. I feel like he is the person to, figure that out and maybe become the starter. Vikings, what do you feel like? We got some Kyler Murray truthers in here. So is anyone going to draft him high this year? What do we think?
I wouldn't draft him high, but I think he can outperform what they did last season. As a team last season, the Vikings threw 18 touchdowns. I'm pretty sure Aaron Jones threw one of those touchdowns and had 21 interceptions as a team. I feel like Kyler Murray can far exceed that. And they actually had a winning record with those stats. So I feel like Kyler Murray can definitely exceed that this season as long as he stays off Call of Duty.
Right. No more release weekends for him or he goes off the rails. So, I mean, if he's the starter, I feel more confident, obviously, about all my targets. If JJ McCarthy somehow wins, then I'm even questioning Justin Jefferson, which is crazy to even say out loud. But it's just, you could tell that
From where he's drafted.
From where he's drafted.
Yeah.
That's like, first rounder, second rounder, yeah. All right, so we went over all 8 teams with fantasy and rankings and everything else. Does anyone want to add anything before we end this lovely show of ours?
I'm looking through ESPN right now, and take it as you will, but it looks like it says that here that Kyler Murray is the QB1 Vikings right now.
All right, so that's good. I mean, that makes me feel a little better.
Carson Wentz is still on the team too, so who knows? Maybe he can. He has something to say about it.
Yeah. He can root on from the sidelines. You did well, Kyler. Yay. He could say, you're the next Nick Foles. Let's go. Anyway. All right. So that's the show for this week. You can follow us on socials and audio platforms at WaiVER CLaiM Show. YouTube at WaiVER CLaiM. Hit subscribe. Help us spread the word. Hit us up. Let us know what you like and what you don't like. As of now, all of you only like Alberto, which I love to see. But maybe in the future we can get some love as well. And until next week, this has been
Pumpkin pie is trash.
It's not. It's way much later.
WaiVER CLaiM, WaiVER CLaiM, under in the state of green. Yeah, we play that game. This is WaiVER CLaiM, under in the state of green, from the draft board to your screen. Who you start? Who you fade? know it's rich with the picks, got the board on lock. Sunday slate, money line clock, tick, tick, tock. Sleeper in the slot that your league don't see. Turn the bench spot boy to a big time fee. Chris with the tape, feeds the frame that thinks. Ask one question, watch it blink, blink, blink. Got data, got charts, got a slide side eye. If the robot wrong, then we both gon' fry. Okay, okay. Craig on the mic, baby face, big talk. Walk you through the spread, do the chalk outline. Walk from the mock to the prop to the live in game. If you scared of the sweat, why you press that